again, everyone, and welcome back to the Frontline with Joe and Joe Pasillo, Joe Rossinello. Let us go into the breach. So I'm going to play this clip, Joe Rossinello, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm getting tired of hearing about inclusivity. But they got no inclusivity for Catholics. No inclusivity for those who believe in Jesus Christ. Okay? No inclusivity when it comes to, let's say, when it comes to a group that mocks Catholic nuns, not just in some cheeky way. They go out of their way to mock Catholic nuns. So this is a clip from the news. Then we're going to come back and we're going to give you a little reporting on this.
As you can see, it is Pride Month, and at the annual LA Pride Night at Dodger Stadium, a local nonprofit from West Hollywood was set to be honored. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, but some Catholic groups fought to not have them there and won. For 10 years, the Dodgers and LA Pride have partnered to host an official LA Pride party at Dodger Stadium. This year is no different. Activists and organizations are set to be honored during the game next month. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, whose members dress as queer and trans nuns, were set to receive this year's Community Hero Award. But now that group is officially off the list after the Catholic League fought to remove them.
Trying to say everyone is welcome in baseball, America's pastime, to then pick a group that specifically targets, mocks, denigrates, ridicules Catholics is not a message of inclusivity.
Michael.
So let's leave it there for a second, Joe. So at that point, and here's the reporting, all right? At that point, the Dodgers did the right thing. They disinvited them, okay, because obviously they probably saw what they were all about, and they decided, well, okay, let's not get into this. But guess what? They sat down. They had a few conversations. I want you to talk about this first, because then the newest update is that not only were they re-invited, they were apologized to. Go, Joe, please.
Well, a couple points. That's Mike from the Catholic League. He's a good friend of ours. He's been on the show a number of times. Good for you and Bill, Mike.
Mike's awesome.
Phenomenal work. First point. Second point. Listen, I love how the news kind of like plays it up like they do great things. You're basically talking about apples and oranges. Maybe this group does do charitable things. I don't know about them. Maybe they do. Good for you. This is not appropriate. Certain things are not appropriate. Nuns, to a Catholic, are sacred. And for men to dress up like nuns in a fashion that is mocking them, whether you're doing it directly or indirectly, is not appropriate. Now, what came to mind, Joe, you may remember this because you're from the Jersey area, and, we both go way back. Do you remember Opie and Anthony on the radio?
Yeah.
Do you remember when they pulled a stunt where they had sex in a church?
I remember that.
They got fired.
Yeah.
Because that's not appropriate.
Right.
Just as that's not appropriate, this is inappropriate. And now I want to talk about the Catholic League. This is what they do. They do well. And this is what all Catholics should do. Too many times there are outrages, and this is an outrage. And kudos to the Archdiocese of LA, because they spoke up too.
Right.
That's just what you have to do. You say, okay, you're free to do what you want. You have freedom of speech. You want to do this? Fine. I'm not going to spend a red cent on your product.
Right.
Not just for a little bit. You're done. You're done. And when we start doing that as Catholics, we'll change the culture. We will change the culture, Joe Pasillo.
Right. But what bothers me more than anything is this, is that we're like you said, we're letting them get away with it. What's going on with the sports leagues and the individual teams, okay? This is the biggest slap in the face, aside from us as Catholics being slapped in the face by this horrid crew, okay? Professional sports in America was built on the dollars of men. Men. Not these freaks. I'm sorry, Joe. I'm sorry. Okay? Men built your organization. And what do you do, LA Dodgers? What do you do, Stan Kasten? Okay?
Joe.
You slap us in the face. You slap us in the face. You took all our money for years, and now this is what you're introducing to our kids. I'm going to bring my son. If I lived in California, I'm going to bring my son to a Dodgers game. But you don't care anymore. You've made all your money. You don't care about us anymore. Just remember, Joe, I want to just point out from Bill Donahue, the Dodgers have now officially endorsed anti-Catholic bigotry. This is from the Catholic League. Catholics don't need lectures from Stan Kasten. He's the president and CEO of the Dodgers on the need to be inclusive. The man is a phony, according to Bill Donahue. They had a meeting, and after, quote, much thoughtful feedback from our diverse communities, honest conversations within the Los Angeles Dodgers organization, and generous discussions with the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, they met with him, and basically they agreed that they were going to actually re-invite them. And the bottom line is, Joe, they caved. They caved.
Well, you know what it is? Again, this particular agenda controls all the institutions.
Right now it does.
They control all the institutions. And to your point, I do think that they're out of touch. I wouldn't have called them freaks, Joe.
Sorry.
And I know in your heart, you love everybody.
No, listen, real quick. The reason why I exploded like that, before you and I came on, and before, this is a rather innocuous video because this is on the news. I saw an actual video of what they're doing that I won't describe to our guests, but I would say the Catholics and anybody who follows Jesus Christ, no matter who you are, what I saw, I cannot now unsee. If you know where I'm going, that's why I use that word. Now,
but
Christ doesn't want me to use that word. But
ultimately, this is not appropriate. And frankly, the way to push back is to not support them. Catholics should not support the Dodgers. And also, you talk about, Joe, to be honest with you, bringing your kid. I think men, listen, you're free to do what you want as an organization. Well, I'm free with my money. And this is not a behavior that I want to expose my son to. So therefore, I am not going to patronize your stadium. That's a very, very valid thing and something each person can do. Also, I think that they misunderstand their marketing demographic because, to be honest with you, most men, and this is not that doesn't make you a hater, doesn't make you a bigot. Frankly, I don't want to bring my kid to something like that. If you're an adult and you want to do your thing, most men would basically say, then just do your thing. I may disagree with it, but we live in a free country. You're free to do it. However, I, as a father, have authority over my son. I love him. I want to rear him and bring him up in the manner of my religion, which is a Catholic religion. And frankly, I would even extend it to people of goodwill. I don't think most men would want to expose their son to what we're seeing on the screen right now. Sorry, that doesn't make me a hater. I don't hate you. Frankly, I'll pray for you. I hope you pray for me. But at the end of the day, what you're doing is not appropriate for children. Sorry, I have that right to say that. I'm a father. And guess what? I'm not giving you a cent.
Joe, let me tell you something, and I'm going to say this publicly. This way, I could be held to it. Okay, it looks like there is a strong possibility, Joe. I know how this is going to sound to you. There's a strong possibility that the New York Jets could go to the Super Bowl this year. They have that good of a defense and offense.
Christopher Columbus.
Joe! No, really, Aaron. No. I'm not kidding. Aaron Rodgers. I know you saw that they signed Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Now, my point is this: it is within the realm of possibilities. If the Jets do this, I will not watch one game. I don't care how good they are. If the New York Jets do what the Dodgers just did, or now the Jets are my favorite team, but if it was the Yankees or if it was the Celtics, if they do this, okay, I'm not watching them.
Well, I'll take it one step further. I haven't watched a football game in 3 years that includes a Super Bowl because there's one national anthem. There is one national anthem. I absolutely will not patronize, whether it's spending a cent and or go to a game, buy a jersey, for anything that, in my view, is undermining the unity of America. There is one national anthem. That doesn't make me a hater. That doesn't make me anti-black, anti-white, anti-anything. It makes me, frankly, a patriotic American. And I'm not giving the NFL a cent either.
Let me leave you with this. Everybody out there who's listening to us at the front line with Joe and Joe, first of all, click a button that's going to help us out, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. But go to the Catholic League, and Manfred, who is the He is the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred. Bill Donahue provides his email. Inundate this guy with emails. Make your voice heard. Bill Donahue has been very effective over the years with these types of campaigns when people actually step up and send an email. Send an email to Rob Manfred, who runs MLB, and say, listen, you want to be inclusive. That means you're already being inclusive because you're putting up the rainbow flags. But those Catholics over there are offended, and we want to include them too. Okay? We want them to come to the game too. So we're not excluding them. Therefore, they're offended by this group. So therefore, we're going to disinvite the perpetual sisters of indulgence, tutte gabregazze, as my mother would say in Italian. All right, who cares what they call themselves? And the bottom line is, Joe, listen, I take back calling them freaks. At the end of the day, they don't want our prayers, but we're going to give them to them anyway because these people are lost souls. And like you said, we can't give in to these organizations that are supporting this. That's all we got at the front line with Joe and Joe. We'll talk to you soon.